Welcome to today's custom deep dive, everyone. I'm your host, and today I am joined by our systems expert to dig into a really exciting mission.
Hi there. I am super excited to be here, especially because the scenario we are looking at today is just so incredibly ambitious.
It really is. So we are speaking directly to you, the listener, today. You are the learner for this deep dive. And your situation is, well, it's a classic modern startup story. You are a lean, three-founder remote startup, and you're building a sauce app.
Right, just the three of you right now, all remote.
Exactly. And your tech stack is already very intentionally chosen. You're using Google Workspace Business Standard, Make for your automations, Stripe for payments, Xero for accounting. And for the actual app itself, you're using Xano as your client-facing database hooked up to a FlutterFlow front end.
Which is, that is a fantastic heavy-hitting stack.
Yeah, it's solid. But here is the massive challenge. You plan to scale your internal staff to a maximum of just 9 people over the next 5 years. Meanwhile, you want your customer base to scale from 0 to 5,000 households in year 1, all the way up to 200,000 households by year 5.
Which is an enormous volume of customers for just 9 human beings to manage.
Right. So the big question you brought to us is about your internal operations. You want to know if ClickUp, specifically paired with their Brain Max desktop app, is the ultimate combined CRM, project management, and marketing hub for this specific team. Is this just a starting point, or is it your long-term solution? Okay, let's unpack this.
To really get into that, we have to start by looking at ClickUp's fundamental architecture. Since it launched, ClickUp's whole promise has been the everything app.
Yeah, the one app to replace them all.
Exactly, because the founders were originally running an agency, and they were using like 15 different siloed tools, and they realized they were just bleeding money from context switching fatigue.
Oh, that toggle tax is real.
It's brutal. For a 3-person team like yours, if you lose 20 minutes a day just clicking between your CRM and your task manager, you're essentially dead in the water. So ClickUp uses this very deep organizational hierarchy to fix that. It goes workspace, then spaces, folders, lists, and tasks.
I always like to picture it like a massive digital office building.
Oh, it's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so the workspace is the building itself. And then inside, your different departments get their own custom-built floor plans, which are the spaces. So your marketing team gets their own floor, and it's all visual Kanban boards, dragging sticky notes from drafting to publish.
Right, which marketers love. But then on a totally different floor, like the software dev space, you don't want sticky notes. You want complex Gantt charts. You want sprint point systems. And ClickUp lets you have both in the same building without the marketing team tripping over the developer's code bases.
Right, but an office building is great for humans. Software doesn't just, walk down the hall to talk to another department. If your team is living in ClickUp, how does it actually talk to Stripe or FlutterFlow?
Well, that's where the rest of your tech stack is so crucial. ClickUp has a flawless native sync with Google Workspace, so your emails and Drive files just work. But for the rest of it, Stripe, Xero, Xano ClickUp isn't replacing those. It's acting as your central command dashboard.
It's catching the data.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is how ClickUp's webhooks and public API connect with Make. Make is essentially the glue for your entire operation.
Yeah, and for anyone not super familiar with automations, a webhook is basically a digital tripwire. So a user signs up in your FlutterFlow app, they trick the wire, Make catches it, and instantly tells ClickUp, hey, put a new task on the customer success floor.
That is exactly how it works. ClickUp isn't running the complex database math. Xano is doing that. But ClickUp is surfacing the actionable work for you 3 founders to see right now.
It's the dashboard, not the engine room.
Precisely.
But look, even with the best dashboard, human labor is your bottleneck. You are capping at 9 people. You need AI to do a lot of heavy lifting. Let's talk about ClickUp Brain, and specifically the Brain Max desktop app.
This is probably the most critical piece of your strategy, because Brain isn't just some generic chatbot slapped on the side. It's an intelligence layer that has native access to your entire workspace.
Right.
And it does 3 main things. It's an AI knowledge manager, an AI project manager, and an AI writer. And with the Brain Max desktop app, all of this is native on your computer, not lost in a browser tab.
Let me pause you on the knowledge manager, because usually internal search tools are kind of garbage. They just give you a bunch of useless links.
Yeah, historically they've been terrible.
But with Brain, since it has native access, you can literally just ask it, hey, what's the status of the Q3 marketing campaign? And it will actually read your tasks, read the comments, check the linked Google Docs, and give you a real synthesized answer.
Right. It instantly retrieves company knowledge. And then the project manager side of it handles the admin work. You just give it a rough three-sentence idea for of a new app feature, and it automatically spits out the 12 subtasks needed to build it.
That saves so much time.
It does. But the thing that really feels like a fourth founder for you are these new super agents.
Okay, yes. Tell me about the super agents.
So these are autonomous AI coworkers powered by models like GPT-5 and Claude. You literally just mention them in a task, give them a role, and put them on a schedule. You could have a super agent read every incoming bug report, categorize it, and draft a response.
Okay, I have to push back here for a second because every tech company right now is selling the autonomous AI coworker dream.
Oh, absolutely.
Looking at the actual sources and user reviews, is this genuinely replacing a human, or is it just spitting out generic fluff that you founders have to rewrite anyway?
That is a very fair reality check. And the sources are completely honest about this. The AI is a brilliant first draft generator. It is incredible at structuring internal project briefs. But for client-facing communication, it usually requires serious human refinement to actually match your brand voice.
So it's not a magic wand.
No, it's not. If you expect it to sound exactly like you right out of the box, you'll be disappointed. And there's another big limitation.
What's that?
External files. Let's say a competitor drops a 50-page PDF white paper. You cannot just drag and drop that PDF into the brain chat and ask it to summarize the file.
Wait, really? It can't read a PDF attachment?
No, it cannot currently summarize external file uploads like a standalone ChatGPT can. For Brain to analyze text, it has to be natively built or pasted directly into ClickUp docs.
Wow. Okay, so you really have to commit to using ClickUp Docs as your company wiki if you want the AI to be useful?
Exactly. You have to adapt to its architecture.
That makes sense. Okay, so the PM structure is solid. The AI is good if you use it right. But let's pressure test the riskiest part of this whole 5-year plan.
The CRM.
Yes. Using ClickUp as your customer relationship manager while scaling to 200,000 households. Can it actually handle that?
Well, for year one, when you're hitting your first 5,000 households, absolutely. That is ClickUp's sweet spot. It is so flexible. You can use custom fields for phone numbers, board views for sales pipelines. You can easily drag a lead from prospect to closed.
Right. 3 people managing 5,000 users in ClickUp is totally doable.
Completely. But you aren't stopping there. You are aiming for 200,000 households by year 5. And if we look at the cold, hard data from power users, ClickUp hits a severe performance wall at that kind of scale.
Yeah, because a task manager is fundamentally not a database.
Exactly. When you try to load tens of thousands of customer records as individual tasks, the platform chokes.
We really need to explain why that happens to the listener, because a real database, like Xano, just stores clean, flat rows of text. It's incredibly lightweight.
Super fast.
But ClickUp is a task manager. When it loads a task, it's loading the assignee, the rich text formatting, the comment history, the time logs, the file attachments. If you force your browser to load 50,000 of those, it just panics.
Right, and user reviews complain about this constantly. They call it the dreaded flicker refresh.
Oh, the flicker, yeah.
The screen literally flashes white every time you add a task because the system can't process it all seamlessly. The dashboards get laggy, and the mobile app becomes notoriously buggy. People say offline notes just vanish, and navigating a massive board on a phone is impossible.
Going back to our building analogy, it's like trying to stuff 200,000 heavy metal filing cabinets onto one single floor. The floorboards will physically cave in.
They absolutely will.
But here's where it gets really interesting. And this is the synthesis that basically saves your entire business strategy. You don't actually have to put those 200,000 records into ClickUp.
No, you don't, because of your tech stack.
Because you were using Xano. Xano is built to handle millions of records at lightning speed. Xano is the concrete foundation for those filing cabinets.
This is the most crucial boundary you must enforce as a team. Xano does the heavy lifting for the massive volume of data. You should never, ever try to mirror all 200,000 households as tasks in ClickUp.
So practically, how do they use ClickUp as a CRM then, if the data is in Xano?
You only use ClickUp for relationships that require active human workflows, high-level B2B partnerships, marketing pipelines, feature requests. When a standard user just signs up, they stay quietly in Xano. But if a VIP client signs up or a specific user hits a critical strike billing error, that specific event triggers a make webhook to push a task into ClickUp.
I love that so much. ClickUp is your workflow engine. Xano is your data warehouse. Keep them separate, and ClickUp will scale perfectly for your 9-person team.
It really is a huge relief to see that the architecture works. But we have to look at the budget. You're a bootstrapped founder. Is this setup actually lean?
Let's talk pricing. Because ClickUp advertises a free forever plan, but let's be honest, that's a trap for a real business.
Oh, yeah. It has a 100 megabyte storage limit. You'd hit that in a week.
Right, so you have to pay.
Yes. The base paid plan is unlimited at $7 a user. But with your heavy reliance on automations and resource management, you really need the business tier, which is $12 per user per month.
Okay, $12 a month is super cheap, but there's a hidden cost here. The budget-friendly label kind of falls apart when you add AI.
Right, because ClickUp Brain is a premium add-on. The standard Brain AI is an extra $9 a month. But we've been talking about the Brain Max desktop app and those autonomous super agents. To get unlimited access to that, you need the Everything AI tier.
And how much is that?
That is $28 per user per month.
Okay, so let's do the actual math. $12 for business plus $28 for everything AI. You're looking at $40 per user per month. For the three of you, that's $120 a month right now.
And when you hit your cap of 9 employees, it'll be about $360 a month. If we connect this to the bigger picture, for a startup used to cheap subscriptions, $40 a head feels steep.
It definitely does. I can hear the sticker shock. But let's look at the alternative. If you didn't use ClickUp to do all of this, what would you be paying?
Oh, it would be so much more. You'd need Asana Advanced for project management, which is $25. You'd need HubSpot or Pipedrive for your CRM. You'd need Notion for your internal wiki. And to give your employees access to premium models like Claude or GPT-5, you'd be paying $20 a month just for individual ChatGPT Plus accounts.
Wow, okay. So when you frame it like that, paying $40 to consolidate your PM, your documents, your time tracking, your CRM, and unlimited AI, that is incredibly lean.
It really is. It perfectly fits a 5-year bootstrapped budget. But I will say, it requires intense discipline.
How so?
Because ClickUp is so flexible, it is very easy to fall into the trap of over-customizing. You can accidentally create workflows that are so complicated, your team spends more time managing the software than doing actual work.
That makes total sense. So what does this all mean? To summarize for you, the learner, yes, ClickUp and Brain Max can absolutely be your long-term solution to reach 200,000 households if you follow 3 strict rules.
Exactly. Rule 1, enforce strict naming conventions from day 1 so it doesn't become a digital junk drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Rule 2, avoid feature bloat and over-customization. And Rule 3, the biggest one, maintain that architectural boundary. Xano's your database, ClickUp is your workflow.
If you stick to those, your foundation will hold. But I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to chew on as you build this out.
Yeah.
You have this very intentional plan to cap your human staff at 9 people because you want to stay lean. But the very definition of a lean team is about to change. As these AI super agents get more autonomous, when they start executing code via webhooks or running whole marketing campaigns natively inside it, ClickUp, your digital workforce is going to explode.
That's such a fascinating point.
Yeah, you might only have 9 humans on the payroll, but you'll have dozens of autonomous AI agents operating alongside you. So, will it actually feel like running a lean startup? Or will you suddenly realize you're managing the equivalent of a 50-person enterprise? Because auditing, leading, and managing a fleet of AI agents is going to require a completely different management skill set than leading humans. You aren't just buying software today, you are setting up the management structure for your future digital workforce, and that is a foundation worth getting right.